Hey, welcome to Big Blend Radio's third Tuesday Go to Natchitoches show. Natchitoches is in Louisiana. It is one of our most favorite destinations. I know you all know it because I know when we talk to people, they're like, you're always going to that place in Louisiana. You're always talking about that place and I can't pronounce it, but it's Natchitoches. And it's spelled Natchitoches, but it's pronounced, so it's not Natchitoches, it's Natchitoches. It was founded in 1714, and it is actually the oldest French colony and the oldest, or I should say the original French colony, and the oldest city in the state of Louisiana. And we're talking about a big blend of cultures. We're talking about good food, a lot of fun, water areas. I've got Cane River Lake. You've got a historic downtown with beautiful brick streets, which you don't see very much of anymore, an amazing university. Let's see, I said food, meat pies, a lot of festivals, a lot of events, and a ton of history. And so I encourage you to go to natchitoches.com. Today, we're going to talk about all of those things because we're going to talk about one of the best events on the planet. It is the 43rd Annual Natchitoches-NSU Folk Festival held at the university, Northwest University. And we've got Arlene Gould here, as always. She is the executive director of the Natchitoches Convention and Visitor Bureau. So welcome back, Arlene. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you very much for having me back on the show.
Hey, Nancy and I love Natchitoches, and we love this festival. And we got to go in 2019, and we want to go this year. It's on the 22nd of July. Everyone, you got to go. We've also got Dr. Shane Rasmussen here, and he's been on the show a few times, and it's good to have you back. How are you, Dr. Shane?
It's just wonderful to hear you guys again. It's the next best thing to seeing you, but we sure would love to. Maybe next year you can come on down.
We will. I'm just so glad you guys are back doing it. I know because, with the pandemic, that kind of ruined a lot of musical plans for a lot of people. But I love this year's theme, celebrating Louisiana's cultural gumbo, because I think that is Natchitoches, right? It is a cultural gumbo, and you got good food. So I love that. That's a perfect theme. Are you guys excited to be back doing it? And you did it last year, right? It happened last year, as I recall.
It's true. It's true. In a way, our theme is the same as it is last year. It was stronger together. In a sense, that is what we mean by Louisiana's cultural gumbo. We're all in this pot together. We're influencing each other, and we're taking the good and just moving it around, and it's just a neat experience to see everyone celebrate each other's cultures and also the shared culture that we have throughout Louisiana.
I love it. And Arlene, that's the thing about Natchitoches, right? Is I always talk about you're the oldest city, and people look at me, they're always, it's New Orleans. I'm like, no, it's not. And you've also got no man's land, and there's so many smaller outlying communities. And I think what's really good about this festival is you get to understand all these different cultures. And Arlene, so you must get a lot of people that come just for this festival to kind of get to understand the region a little bit better about when they're driving through an area on one of your amazing scenic or historic byways, that they understand the land and the people by going to this festival.
Yes. For 43 years, Northwestern State University has held a first-class festival to bring together the culture, the music, just a multitude and abundance of people bringing their skills and the things that we love the most, whether it's cooking or making things and dancing to music and all the fun stuff. But Northwestern has done a great job bringing people together for 43 years for this wonderful folk festival event. And one of the nicest things, because it's been held, in the air-conditioned Prather Coliseum on the campus of Northwestern University. When you think of summertime, July in Louisiana, it gets kind of warm, but it's in air-conditioned. He's got 3 stages indoors, and the music is flowing, all day long. They also have the Louisiana fiddle contest, for the state fiddle championship. And so that's always fun to see and witness. And it's just a really good time to bring people together. And, we're always up for a fun time, right?
I agree with that.
Well, what's when you talk about the diversity of what what you can experience at the festival. I know Nancy and I we were amazed at like even the food. Next thing you know, I think we were having Indian tacos, meat pies, and around the corner there was someone doing like traditional smoking barbecue. And I'm like, okay, like I know Louisiana has good food, but it was just like you could eat all kinds of things you didn't know, even existed. And going into the
Well,
craft
this year
hall
there's
was all
this
different.
year, yeah. Well, and it's fun because this year there's actually a gumbo cook-off. So
Yep.
imagine
Oh,
that.
see. Oh, now you're gonna
Now, if
just
you
butt
guys will
in.
come on down, come on down and join us, and I'll let you be judges.
Oh, see, that would be cool. That would be cool because doesn't the gumbo like now that is part of the craft and the folk traditions is gumbo, right? And is it going to be
For
different? Like
sure.
when you would it be different in Natchitoches versus New Orleans, or different than what they would do in Lafayette, or is this like celebrating all of Louisiana's flavors when it comes to gumbo?
You know,
I think
you're
it's all of
exactly right.
Louisiana's flavors, yeah, and it
Yeah.
does. It varies from different parts of the state, but it's all good, all of it.
You know, I mean, some people they have the seafood gumbo, you know, with the crab, and oh, it's so good. But other times, you know, I personally I like a chicken and sausage gumbo. But you know,
Mm,
you could put duck, turkey, game. You know, really, there's you know the sky's the limit, and that there's a lot of different things you can put into gumbo that people don't realize. I mean, you know, some folks, you know, you know, down in Eunice, for example, they'll put that dollop that of potato salad in the middle of their gumbo bowl, you
really?
know, and not everyone, yes, not everyone does it, but it can be so good. And other people around the state kind of look at, you know, look at that like, what are they doing? I never heard of that, but it's all awesome.
Wow,
So
this
we
is
just want to.
I
yeah.
grew up putting a dollop of potato salad. If my
Did
mama
you
made
really?
potato salad and gumbo, heck yeah, I put some in the bowl and I just kind of had it all together. And I even like okra in my gumbo.
Oh yes, oh yes,
Ooh.
I
Mm.
love okra.
Ooh, well, yeah, now
I know
that is
okra.
Louisiana. Hmm.
Okra can be an acquired taste for some folks. They see it as slimy or something like that. I personally like it. And also, kind of off the topic, there is nothing better than some really good fried okra dipped in ranch. Oh my heck, that will just knock your
Yeah.
socks off.
Yeah, that's how I like okra. Like it, yeah, if deep fried. And listen, fried food is fantastic, and Louisiana does it well, whether it's at a gas station, eatery, and or going to a restaurant. You guys know how to fry food and do it. I don't know what you guys are putting in the oil there, but no other state does fried food like you
Top
guys
secret,
do.
top
Yeah,
secret.
it is. It is. There's something good, but I think this is fantastic that you're doing a gumbo cook-off for people to learn things like, oh yeah, potato salad being in there. But the seafood, I know that that's a huge deal. And but I was reading about the entries, how they're going to be judged, and one part of it is about the roux, and that's something that maybe those of us who don't live in Louisiana won't really think of, unless you're really, a lot of people who cook will know what a roux is, but roux is really like when I think it's French and Louisiana cooking, I think of like a roux. And now you're going to judge the roux, not the kangaroo, but the roux with a U and an X.
Not the kangaroo, no. And the roux
No.
is really the heart of the gumbo in a lot of ways. A lot of people consider the roux the most important element.
Ah,
I mean,
see? Yeah,
if it's a
that's
rich,
awesome.
I mean, I like a rich dark roux personally, and oh, it can just be so good, and it melts everything together, and the way also that it coats over the rice is
Mm.
really, I mean, that just makes the mouth feel so good.
This is so funny because we just, I think we were doing an interview and I started talking about Louisiana and of course talking about Natchitoches, and we were talking about areas, and actually, yeah, it's show coming up, our big weekly blend with Joey Stuckey, a musician, incredible musician. He's the official music ambassador of Macon, Georgia. And then I started talking about Louisiana, and we were talking about actually your festival. And we were just talking about this on the show, and everyone was coming up in a couple of weeks. But and I started talking about rice and boudin, and we were, talking about all of it. And he's like, "What do you mean rice?" I said, "Well, there's a town called Rice." He goes, "Why is there a town called Rice?" And because Louisiana is known not only for seafood and oil and outdoors and boudin and meat pies like in Natchitoches, but rice and sugarcane are part of the agricultural crops. And And I think that is something as a bird watcher, but I don't know what I'm doing as a bird watcher, just to be clear, amateur bird watcher. I do know if you go out in the rice paddies or the rice fields, you will see some, wetland birds. And so I think that's also the other part of gumbo is actually understanding the food that is grown and, and that comes like the seafood and everything that comes from Louisiana and rice is a big deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm
Yeah,
glad.
a lot of the rice fields that where they grow here in Louisiana, they double up and also use those fields because it takes water, and they also use that for crawfish ponds.
Yep.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I see. This is how you guys
You
get all
see
these
that in
extra
South Louisiana
flavors.
a lot.
Okay, so that's how you get all these extra flavors in there. So this is good. So the food is really good. I'm digging this. I'm also really digging the fact that Ed Huey is going to be there. He was on our show a few years ago, and he's going to be teaching, right? Ed Huey. He's going to do workshops.
Exactly. He's doing a harmonica workshop, and how he's going to do that, it's kind of he's going to emphasize a little bit of the beginners, but we have 50 free Hohner harmonicas that we're going to be giving away, so the participants in the workshop will have something to play and take home with them right there.
Oh,
so,
that's cool.
This is, isn't that neat? It's made possible. I mean, there are donors all around the state and even outside the state. There are businesses that come and help us, like Clico and things like that, and but also. I mean, there's so many folks that come out of the woodwork to help us. I mean, the National Endowment for the Arts, for example, the Louisiana Endowment for the Humanities, the Shreveport Regional Arts Council, the Jazz and Heritage Folk Festival Foundation, the Canterbury National Heritage Area, the Natchitoches Historic District Development Commission, and of course, Arlene's very own Natchitoches Parish Tourism Bureau and the Louisiana Office of Tourism. These folks they really help us keep alive the festival so much. And let us not forget to thank, this is NSU's festival. This is NSU's gift to the people of Louisiana. And they do that because NSU believes in traditional culture because it's everyone's culture. Mm-hmm. Traditional folk culture is diversity. It is the lifeblood of what diversity and inclusion is, because I don't want to live in a world without gumbo. I don't want to live in a world without jambalaya and Cajun music and if I had to live in Natchitoches, but there were no more Natchitoches meat pies, I don't know if it would be the same. I know it wouldn't be the same.
Well, this is what I was talking about on the show the other day with Joey, was that Louisiana as a state has kept its roots, its traditions. And I remember at the festival that there was some Zydeco music and they were adding some hip hop and all kinds of stuff, which I love because they're carrying the torch, but at the same time keep the roots going. But you guys have kept your integrity as a state. Natchitoches has kept the integrity of the history and sharing the stories and preserving the history, but interpreting it and going to festivals like this. It's I know you're a professor, Dr. Shane, and you know that if you just sit and talk at someone in a classroom, it doesn't work. But going to a festival where you can participate, hear the music, see demonstrations. Like, I learned how broom making was done years ago. I had no idea I was going to have a class on that, but I did. And I don't look at a broom like I'm much kinder and nicer to my broom, especially around Halloween. But that's I think
you're exactly right. I think
those festivals, a
lot of us live our lives a little bit vicariously now. Live events like this one kind of have to compete with YouTube and Netflix and everything else, because everything is, we could just get it at the push of a button. I can listen to what I want with Spotify or Pandora.com or whatever. And, that has its place. It's fine. But it is not the same. When you get into the festival and you see Terry Hubel up there and he gets his fiddle and he starts playing, and you hear and you see the expertise, but also the passion by which he's playing, and you hear that live music and you don't control it. You can't just hit click to get the new, the next song or whatever. You experience it. And then you realize that, hey, what are these people doing? They're getting up and dancing because this is meant to be experienced. And you then feel that you're a part of it, and your applause makes what he does, give that back to him, and pretty soon he's got that energy and he's drifting it back and he's getting off the stage and getting into the audience with his fiddle and he's talking to people and playing and singing. That's the kind of energy and live, just wonderful folk traditional experience that you can't get on the radio. Radio's great in my car, but when I go to something awesome, I'm going to go to a live event like this one, and it is so cheap, $10 for all day. Children
Good
12 and
plug.
under free.
Good plug.
Yeah.
I love that. That was well done. No, but $10 is nothing compared to what you are experiencing, because there's so much music, so many different crafts, so many demonstrations, there's seminars, there's workshops. I mean, I couldn't believe what we experienced. And Arlene, you'd been on the show over the years, and Arlene talking about it. And then we went, and I was like, I don't want to go back to the hotel. I'm going to be here till the end. And we were there till the end, weren't we, Arlene? All the way. And did you wake me up early in the morning?
We were like, we didn't want to miss anything.
No, we closed the town down. But no, it was for the Coliseum. We were there to the end. But you know, one of the things that I want to talk about the musicians and everything, but I think, and I know the schedule's still a little tentative on this. You have all of these sessions where people are doing like a workshop, and I remember Tab Benoit was on the, you know, that's where he performed. He was your headliner in 2019, but then he also did a speaking engagement talking about the health of water and, you know, what for Louisiana as a state and the environmental issues. And I thought that, wow, this is really cool. We're going everywhere with this. So those informative sessions that you have, I think that's really cool too, because it was open for people to learn, but then also have discussions. And that's what I thought was amazing to see, that people could be part of solutions or part of learning about something, you know, not just sitting, you know, you listen and learn, but there's, I don't know, it was fun. You have good people.
Well, and speaking of the narrative sessions this year on the schedule, I see that they're doing a session on the juke joints and the dance halls. And that's always interesting because it kind of talks about all the old, you know, clubs where they have these circuits where these musicians just kind of, you know, went around the state and played at all these different places. And so that's always a good one. And then, of course, there's Marty Young. He's a professor, a history professor from Shreveport, and he comes in and they do blacksmith in demonstrations. And so he'll be talking about traditional blacksmithing and using some of the old tools and showing, you know, people and talking to people about how, you know, they did this. And then you've got your Cane River Creoles that'll be talking about coffee and tea cakes and quilting.
Tea cakes.
You know,
Listen, tea cakes.
It's just a variety of things. Blues music, and you got the Choctaw Apache group, you know.
That's
and
awesome.
It's just all kind of good stuff.
And that's something else the Native American heritage is brought into this, because that's something I think people forget about Louisiana at times, is the very strong Native American culture. And I remember meeting a lady at the festival last year, and she was doing basket making and weaving, and she sold out within 2 hours or something crazy. And so, you know, and I sat and talked with her, and she was saying that her dad, I believe it was her dad or grandfather, worked with Congress and actually to document the alphabet of their tribe. And she said there's only 600 left in their tribe, which is mind blowing when you think about it. And here we were talking to her, I'm going, you're one of the 600. Like, can I have your autograph? You know what I mean? Because I didn't say that. I didn't, you know, I'm not being, you know, flippant about this. I think, no, this is really something special.
But to have that encounter, you know, to be with that person, to be able to talk to them, to see, you know, you go into the festival and it's not just people selling their things; it's they're working on their craft right there in front of you, and they're answering questions about how it works and why they do what they do the way they do it. So, and we have that Hall of Crafts. I think we've invited over 70 this year, and these are genuine traditional crafts, and they are great. We just, you know, it's from 9 to 5 in the main hall. And so, you know, it was of course, you still have, like you said, the music with 3 stages, and it's everyone from like the Jambalaya Cajun Band to from Mississippi. We have, you know, we're talking about the blues music. We from Bentonia, Mississippi, is Jimmy Duck Holmes is going to be coming, and I think it's the first time he's been at the festival, and he's going to be playing his Delta blues, or for example, also for the first time we have the Russell Welch Hawk Quartet with Aurora Nealand, and it is amazing. If they play the old time New Orleans Django Reinhardt traditions, and it is, oh my heck, if you have never seen it, it will be a wonder to behold. When people come to this festival, they come back.
I know, because once you go, like and here's the other thing is that you may not know that you like that kind of music or that it even exists, right? And that's the thing. You go in, it's like, wow, this is super cool. I want to know about homegrown tomatoes. I want to know about them because that's like the coolest name ever. Yeah,
they are a really cool group. That's George Darvis, and it's a bluegrass group, and they are just they're a hoot to see, and they are doing it I frankly think they just do it because they love it. They love the music, the people's response to it. And they play the old style bluegrass, and it is neat. We also have the Rusty Matoire and the Zydeco Crush, and we got some line dancing that people can do. We got the two dance floors. One is the big dance floor for the Cajun dancing and the waltz dancing, but we have a second dance floor for the line dancing, so that the people that are waltzing don't have to look behind them. Because sometimes the line dancers are moving and the Cajun dancers are moving. We don't want them to conflict, you might say, and trip over each other.
We don't want a traffic jam.
Two different dance floors. That's right. That's right.
Is Rusty Matoire now? Is he related to the Matoires of Melrose Plantation?
That I don't know. That's a good question. I know he has relations on the cane. I do know that because I talked to him about that.
But I think he's from the Lafayette or Opelousas area, correct? I think he comes from South
He's from Lake Charles.
But he does have Lake Charles. I knew it was somewhere south. But yes, he does have relatives here on Cane River, so he's probably one of those Matoire descendants, relatives, and so yeah.
I know we still get comments from the Melrose Plantation interview we did. We still get people emailing like, I'm related this, that, and who, what, and where. And I'm like, it's never ending. Mr. Elvin Shields still gets a lot of comments about, is he going to show his plantation toys this year? Is he part of that?
He will.
I know he can't.
As long as Elvin Shields is living in Natchitoches and alive, we're going to have him there.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I know, because he knows how to cook too. That's the other thing. He knows how to cook. I
was just well, in fact, last time when we did it, I think it was 2017, we did the last Gumbo cook-off, and Mr. Shields took the grand champion took the ribbon home for his Gumbo. And he has committed to once again make that Gumbo, so we'll see if he can hold on to the title.
It's on.
The competition will be fierce.
Yes, I like this. So the music, though,
I know that two of the... Go ahead, sorry.
Go ahead. No, I was just going, I was looking at the music. Go ahead.
No, talk about a good traffic jam. But I know that two of the Dutch oven cookers are already invested, and they're going to be doing their Gumbos cook-off too. So we have at least 3 in the competition. Folks, if you hear this and you want to be a part of it, there is no entrance fee for the competition. So, you want to take part, just come on over and you can take part and you can see if you can win the spoon.
The spoon.
That's true. That's well, if you can win that Gumbo spoon, that's bragging rights. You hold that up, and everyone
against
knows.
Elvin, though. You're gonna.
That's true.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go against Elvin, and Elvin is not gonna want to be taken down with that. Like he, no.
That's right. That's right.
He's not going down easy, huh?
No, not at all. But I love this. Is so much fun, and I love that you're putting so much of the food in there. What I think is interesting is all these dance lessons, and that people are going to be out there, but that you also have Louisiana Czech heritage dancers. Now I know that we had the Pasanki, Nicole, who did the Pasanki, her and her husband, eggs, showing the eggs. But now, who started the heritage dancing, the Czech heritage dancers? Did she start that, or who, what, and where?
Well, that is a good question, because it actually, because David Holcomb, he's not actually, he spent time overseas, and he learned the Czech dancing, and he and his wife just loved it so much, and they got involved. And there was a teacher that was really rigorous that came in to teach all the Czech heritage dancers, and she was just an iron-fisted person who was very serious about it, and she whipped them into shape. And they're continuing their tradition. David was, up here one time at NSU, and there were all these anthropologists and folklorists, and he was talking about the tradition. And then he was really candid. He said at the end, hey, I'm not Czech. Is this okay what I'm doing? And the folklorists said unanimously, look, you've been accepted by this community. You're a part of this community. They like what you do. You're helping keep it alive. The dancers are dancing as a group. You're good.
Yeah.
And they carry on the love.
I think, and also that, they're part of the community. And so that is part of this, is keeping these, because those eggs, man, those eggs are special. Every Christmas, every Easter, I air her interview about the eggs from the festival that we did. And it's because people, and I think right now too, for people to understand the Czech culture, especially with what's happening with this war in Ukraine and everywhere, just to kind of get a glimpse of, who the people are and where they come from, and their heritage gives some softness to things, some understanding of people. So I think that's the other good thing about this.
One of the neat things about the festival is that you get there and you see all the different communities, whether it's the Creole community or the Cajun community with the Czech, like you mentioned, or for example, we got the Choctaw Apache of Ebarb dance troupe, the Sunshine Dance Troupe. They're gonna have their drum and their traditional dancing, and so you have all these different folks, and they're all part of that party. It's whether it's Hugh Harris doing the Hank Williams tribute, or Los Rancheritos de la Sierra doing their traditional, Mexican songs, and they're going to be there this year. What I do is me and the Folklife Center staff and folks that we work with, like anthropologist Pete Gregory, we look around the state and we stay current. Yeah, with me too. With who's doing what? Who's doing something that's awesome? And every year it's so hard because there's so many people we want to invite. So we only have so much room. This year, for the first time, the Broussard Family Jure group is coming, and they do the traditional Creole African American Jure. It is amazing. So we want to invite people to see it. If you're thinking, what's Jure music? Come to the festival and you will find out.
I love this. I didn't know about that at all. I didn't know, because I'm letting you pronounce everything, because I can't pronounce anything in Louisiana. Unless I'm there and I go through a drive-through daiquiri place, then I can pronounce everything in my mind. I'm just kidding. But now, what about Gal Holiday and the Honky Tonk Review? I mean, that sounds like a good band. You got a jambalaya Cajun band. I mean, come on, this is fun. That sounds
there's some of the more popular folks that we've had in the past, and Gal Holiday. Vanessa Neiman has been playing in New Orleans with that band for years and years, and she is just incredibly, she's been called the punk rock Patsy Cline, and she plays all the old songs, but she plays them with an indelible energy that people love. And like the Jambalaya Cajun band, they are dance bands. They're bands that they're not meant to be sitting in your upright chair with your, your top buttoned, and you sit down and listen to difficult music. This is music you're meant to go and get up and move to, and people are going to do that, and they're going to love it.
There is no sitting
Gal
down
Holiday
in Louisiana.
Was actually, Gal Holiday was inducted into the Hall of Master Folk Artists the same year that Tab Benoit was inducted. What was that, 2019? Yep. I remember they were inducted as the same year. Yeah.
Nice to have her back. It's generous of her to join us again. I mean, the festival is something that's really for everyone. When you go into Disneyland and you go, okay, we have a day. What do we do? Because if we do this one thing that's really great, we can't do this other thing at the same time. And that's, you kind of have to make those choices, because when you're at the Hall of Crafts looking at all the wonderful things that are offered, Well, over on the side stage, you're going to have some Mexican band playing some songs that are just amazing. And if you listen to it and you're there, the hair on your arms are going to rise up. But if you're not there, if you go over to listen to that, then you're not going to be in that narrative session with Jimmy Duck Holmes as he's sitting there with his guitar playing songs in a room of 30 people, taking questions, and you're right there listening to just this amazing. You know, he owns the oldest juke joint in America that's still running. Yes.
Where is it?
It's in Bentonia, Mississippi, and he's just a force of nature. I mean, he can command. He has that command authority of the kind of artist that has given his life for his craft, and also has lived those songs. And you know it, and you hear it, and you just go, "Wow!"
Yeah, no, and the history of the juke joints. Arlene's taking us out, and you think about Arlene. You always tell us Fats Domino came out here, and then you go over to the Country Music Museum that you have, and it's in Roebeline, right? Arlene,
yeah, at the Rebel State Park.
Yeah, the Rebel State Park. You go in there and you start hearing about the Louisiana hay rides. And, we've been to places like Gladewater, Texas, where, Elvis went, and then they're like, no, we went to Louisiana. And then we're like, wait a minute, we've actually now started to do this path. And that's pretty darn cool when you start going to these places. That's what I'm saying. If you can get out and go, do it as best you can, because it's really neat. When you hear about the Louisiana, I didn't quite get it. I was like, what is it, a bunch of people sitting on hay playing hee-haw? Like, is Buck Owens going to come out? Like, I didn't get it. I didn't know what, I really, listen, man, I grew up in Africa. I didn't know what this was about. And, so now, like, going and learning about it, to me, it's, we had Linda Gale Lewis on our show from Louisiana, Jerry Lee Lewis's sister. And we, of course, talked about that. We can't help it. We start piecing the music puzzle together. And I think I told her about the festival on the show too. It's just because, again, I mean, we're all like giddy up. It's so exciting. We're all very passionate about it because if you go, you'll get exactly what we mean. It is vibrant, it's exciting, and you're learning and you're just falling in love with different crafts that you didn't know existed. I remember people painting on knives, people carving knives, like all kinds of stuff that I'd never, had seen before. But when you do this music map that does go from Texas, I keep threatening to do a Southern music show just because of this, but it goes like from East Texas to Natchitoches. Of course, we got New Orleans and everything too. You've got, going into Mississippi. I find it fascinating. And then even just having the pathway going to Chicago. Now I'm going to start a whole new radio show. So I have to watch myself.
You guys have like the coolest job in the world, don't you?
Yeah. Then we have to come see Arlene and come see you guys. And then we're like, we don't want to go back on the road. We just want to stay here. It's just fun. But we do. We love it because that's what I'm saying. When you get out and go places. And what I love about what Louisiana is doing, this marker series, this heritage marker in African American culture. Like, didn't you guys just do a Buddy Guy one? Buddy Guy, one of the best guitarists on the planet. He is like the man. I think you guys.
I think is that the one that's in. I think that's the one that's in Letworth, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so. And then it's connecting to Chicago and his music there. Because I mean, he is
the music, the blues trail for the blues trail for Mississippi.
Yeah,
we've got some good things going on, don't we? Between the food and the music and the crafts, it's just it's all good.
What I want to do is I want to make a music map, and we'll put Natchitoches in the middle with the festival. And kind of do these lines of where people, because they're pathways. I mean, even El Camino Real de los Tejas, that is a pathway that was started, Spanish, the Royal Road. So the music was traveling in ancient times,
right.
Into
well,
Natchitoches.
I always did say that all roads lead to Natchitoches, right? Whether it's El Camino Real or No Man's Land or Jefferson Highway or the Holiday Trail of Lights.
See? See, she's got it. We obviously love it, right?
Agreed.
We all love it. So, everyone, what we're going to do is put a link to the university website where you can see everything. They also post everything up on Facebook, so watch for that too. The link to natchitoches.com. All of it will be in our show notes. We'll also put it up on blendradioandtv.com. Watch for it coming out in the big weekly Blend magazine. So go. I'm serious. Like, it will change it'll change your life, and it's not so as much as there's so much there to experience. It's not one of those festivals where you get lost, and it's cozy, it's down home, and it's comfortable and welcoming and friendly and fun. It's family friendly, all ages. When Dr. Shane, you're talking about people getting up on the dance floor, I saw all ages up there together, which was beautiful too.
Yes.
That's
everyone is invited to this party.
Yeah. Dude, go party. Well, thank you both for joining us here on Big Blend Radio. Everyone, every third Tuesday, we're here with Arlene, our Go to Natchitoches show. Here's another good reason to go, right? So again, the date is July 22nd, 2023, the 43rd Annual Natchitoches-NSU Folk Festival. Thank you so much, Dr. Shane. It's been a pleasure to talk with you again. We've missed you.
I miss you too, guys. Thank you so much. Your enthusiasm for culture is just what we need.
No, it is, but that's what I keep saying. Go to Natchitoches, as Arlene said. All roads go to Natchitoches, right? Thank you. No, we love it. We love it, and we love what Natchitoches does. And I think there's something always special about a university town too that keeps education flowing, no matter what age you are. But they do it in a fun way, and I encourage people to go to the university when you go to town. When you go to Natchitoches, because there's cool museums there. That's where we met Mr. Gregory, and he opened our mind and eyes to just kind of the timeline of history that I didn't quite grasp. He really kind of got us to understand Louisiana as a state. And I also encourage people to go on the walk that the Cane River National Heritage Area puts together. It's a free walking tour of the downtown. And then, of course, go to all these historic sites like Melrose Plantation, Cane River Creole National Historical Park, all of those places, and Grand Decor. And I hear that you have a new visitor center opening up soon, Arlene, that people are going to want to go to as well.
We do. The National Park Service is working on transforming our 1927 train depot that's here in the historic district. It's going to become the National Park Visitor Center, and it should be open, I would hope, maybe between October and December of this year.
So we might have a chance to visit it. That would be awesome. Ooh. We're planning. Awesome. Thank you so much, Arlene. Thank you, Dr. Shane. You guys take care and have fun at the festival. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Take care.